Next up, here's part 2 of that conversation. You're going to love this. Thanks for joining us on The Rebuild. So I love that you've suggested these things. And then also, it makes me think about what you had to go through to get to this point. And so there's something in the book that stands out to me because, like, I feel like these are stripes. Like, you've earned your stripes, like, and you had to have gone through something to come to the conclusion that I need these things in my life. I need rest in
Yeah.
my life. I need to make sure that I'm going on daily walks. I need to make sure that I have the proper things in my diet. So there's a line in the book that says, "The silence will shake you. The silence will shake you." And I
Yeah.
wonder about this. I wonder about your time in the silence. I know you speak to it a little bit in the book, so if you could tell us a little bit about the silence that will shake you.
In particular, the silence for me was when I experienced job loss. And even the way that I talk about it has changed because, and I'll go all the way back for the people listening. I spent 23 years in education. Again, climbed the whole ladder, got to the executive level, and I think I did a really good job. Had fun there, had accomplished everything that I wanted. And at the end of 23 years, I made a shift and went into the corporate world. And still, during all of this time, still was working in technology. So I went from education technology to the corporate technology world and spent 4 years in a position with a tech company and woke up to an email one day that said, some of you will receive a message from HR that you know, all of the corporate lingo of basically saying you're about to be laid off. And
Right.
I was one of those folks that was laid off. And it came with all of the shock, all of the emotions, the disbelief, the feelings of rejection. And I describe it as being locked out of a club that you used to be a member of. And during that time, after I had that layoff, there was a lot that I had to unlearn about this whole job thing. I don't have a more eloquent way of saying it, but basically understanding that it doesn't matter how great you are at the job. I mean, it does matter. Let me pause. You do need to do good work, but understanding that layoffs and rifts, cutting the job force or whatever, that it's not always, well, it's never about you. It's about numbers. And the numbers worked against me at that particular time. And I say all this because, and the reason I was shocked is because on my team, I was one of the top performers. I got the
Oh,
highest bonus,
oh
each
my
quarter. So it was
goodness.
just like, wait a second. I did what you asked me to do. I did the job well.
Right.
I'm well liked. I did, all the things. And so once that happened, I did my whole coaching had been about helping people with career transitions. And so I considered myself an expert. Did all the things that I teach other people to do. I've got the
Yeah.
sparkling resume. I've got the activity with LinkedIn and I know how to present myself in an interview. And did all those things and nothing happened. I spent 7 months with no job offers, and that was that silence that I was a little bit shocked to receive. I questioned a lot of things during that time, what's wrong with me? What is it? Is it the job? But yes, it was the job market, is the job market because it's just continued to decline while we're recording this. But it made me understand that no matter how good you look on paper, no matter how great your performance is, it's about the relationships in your professional circle when you are looking for your next thing. And that is the one place that I didn't spend enough time and energy exploring. So I spent way too much time on job boards and filling out all the applications, spent way too much time on LinkedIn and stuff like that. I should have been picking up the phone and calling real people that I knew and saying, hey, your girl has these qualifications. I'm looking for this type of job. I am willing to take a contract job or whatever, should have just been having those real conversations with people and putting myself out there that way.
Right.
But I allowed myself to stay hidden behind the screens. I allowed myself to put way too much emphasis on stuff that was kind of anonymous activity and could have flipped that completely and been in a job sooner, possibly. And so it changed everything about the way I coach my own clients when they are saying, I want to go into this new thing. I want to shift careers or I want to do this other thing. And then they will come to me with a job posting and they'll say, I am perfect for this job. I'm going to apply for it. And I'll be like, great. That is fantastic. Apply for that job. But I need you to understand that you're not going to get it. And they're just like, what? You have no faith in me? You think, no, 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 no. I think you're very qualified. I think, yes, this is perfect for you, but you're perfect. And the other 700 people that applied for it in the last 15 minutes are probably also perfect for it.
Yes, indeed.
So,
Indeed.
yeah.
Indeed.
And that's the thing is that
It's a
if you,
very, very challenging job market right now. It's also very challenging
yeah,
for Black women specifically right now. But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you think that even if the job market was better, do you think that you should have been going taking another job? Or do you think that what you're doing now is more aligned with who you are?
I think what I'm doing right now, I mean, it came with experience. So I'll say, had I stayed in my initial career in education through now, I can say that none of the things that I've tried out or been courageous enough just to explore, I would not have had the gumption to do any of it. I don't think I would have been qualified to lead or mentor other ladies if I hadn't already had so many
Bingo.
failures during this
Bingo.
time.
Bingo. That's
Yeah.
it.
So
That's it.
it made a difference with the way that I see things. There's something to be said about your comfort zone. And I tell you that I was somebody that not only did I stay in my comfort zone, I built 10-foot brick walls on either side of my comfort zone because I was not leaving what was already working.
Right.
Yeah, but then, when things start changing and your perspective opens up and you go after these new things, it just unlocks something and it makes you brave enough to try the next new thing and then the next thing. These are little small steps that add
Yeah.
up. But I tell you, would I be sitting on a podcast talking about all of this? Hell no. Would I be
Right.
able to tell you that I gave up my house that, had a very comfortable mortgage and, beautiful neighbor? Hell no. I wouldn't have been brave enough to try any of that. But with all of those actions, it just made me able to try or even be curious about whatever the next thing is. Yeah, I mean, I don't ever want to say that I don't have regrets. I do have some things that I might have done a little bit differently because, yeah, there's pain and there's struggle that goes along with it. But I'm very grateful for where I sit right now. I'm very grateful for having a platform where I can share this with other people because I, I I really believe that God will knock you out of your comfort zone sometimes because he's saying, "Hey, girl, yes, this was good for you at 40. Now I'm ready for you to do the next thing." And I don't know about I've said this before. I tell other people, I don't know about you, but when God talks to me, he puts a neon sign in front of me and says, "This
Yes.
way," because
Yes.
I
I
am
love that.
hard-headed and I don't listen the first time.
I love that. I love that. I think that's really encouraging to a lot of women, a lot of people in general, because well, first of all, I think that sometimes people get the sign and they try to ignore it. And it reminds me, I had the cat when I was younger, Misty. And Misty would think that if you didn't see her face, you didn't see the rest of her. Like, if she hid her face, like, you couldn't see the rest of her body, and sometimes I feel like people are like that when they have an instruction, when they know they're supposed to do something, they kinda hide from it, so they're like, "Alright, if I stay real still and I don't do anything, maybe you won't see me here, but we see you, and we know that there's something else that you're meant to do, And so you
Mhm.
get to it. So I love that, you see the sign is a neon sign and you're gonna do what the sign says. You're gonna follow the sign.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I have a very comedic way that I view my relationship, my spiritual journey. Some folks are super deep and beautiful and eloquent. I'm like a comedy show when I have my conversations with God. And I'm just like,
I'm
man,
with
why are you
you.
doing this to me now? I was
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm totally with you on this. I am totally with you. Sometimes I'm like, now why you play so much? Do we really have to do this? Like, really?
Yeah, I love that. Why you play so much?
Mean, listen, I talk to my own dad in various different ways. There are times when I'm joking around with him. There are times when I'm serious with him. So I don't think it's just, the conversations are different. You change depending on what the situation is. I totally get it. I
Right.
totally get it. Tell me a little bit about I wanted to talk a little bit about your coaching. And one thing that I love about coaching is I love the way the work shows up in our life, either before or while we're dealing with an actual client. And so I wanted you to speak a little bit to what are some of the things that have shown up for you as you're working with clients?
I'll tell you that, everything with my coaching initially was about women that were making these career, and I say women, I've had some male clients, but it's mostly women that are making that midlife career transition. And I have recently made a shift because there were parallels that I was noticing between all of my clients. Yes, they would start out wanting to make that career shift at whatever age. They were, 45, 50, 55. But one thing that they all had in common is just like what we were explaining, they had played it safe for a very long time. And there is this assumption that if I play it safe, everything will be okay. If I continue to check the boxes, if I'm a good girl, if I am faithful to this one thing, I will shield myself from all of whatever lifing that I want to avoid. And sometimes they get to a point where that safety has been to a detriment. They've missed out on a lot of things. They have felt deprived because they said no to what they thought was too risky. They felt that there were things that they were curious about and they put it off because what if something bad happens? What are other people going to say? What if I fail? And when they get to this point and it's still gnawing at them, they still have questions. That's when I started to notice, okay, this is more than just about the career. This is everything. Their mindset was set really, I'll say, somewhat based in fear and somewhat just, like myself. I considered myself a good girl to fault. So there were things that I probably could have tried sooner in life and well, could have been very successful or could have been a complete failure or whatever. But there were things that I deliberately just avoided because I thought, I can't take that risk. I got to stay safe. And there's no such thing as complete safety. Even if you do play it safe and you stay in, as completely black and white or this totally vanilla existence, you die with that regret. You have so many desires and goals that are unrealized. The clients over and over again, there were glimmers of that where once they got over the fear of making that career transition, it just opened the floodgates of so many other things that they were questioning, whether it was the home, whether it was relationships, whether it was the lack of relationships. Well, I have several ladies that come to me that are talking about dating again in 50s, which, I can't give dating advice. I can refer them to other experts, but it's still the conversations just about what else is there, what else is possible. And so now with the coaching, I'm broadening those conversations intentionally, and we're going to start working in a redesign lab. that is something that I'm starting brand new based on experiences and what I'm seeing with the clients that I've already worked with on the career transitions. We're going to go into 6-week cohorts where we will truly go deep and reflect on all of those unrealized goals and desires that maybe you locked away because you thought this is a little too self-centered, or this is a little too indulgent, or I don't have time, or I've got more important adult things to do. Probably by the time you've hit midlife, you've done all of those things. You've taken care of the other people. You've done the career or whatever, but what else is it that is still gnawing at you? What is your spirit trying to release? And that's what we're going to explore starting with this first cohort. We're going to start this in January and really allow these ladies to, in community, small groups, we're going to talk out loud about what is it with that pursuit of joy that you're seeking? What is it that you were afraid to say in front of other people that you want to do? And once you name it, once you actually bring it out into the ether, even if it's something like, I just want to go to a tiny home, or I want to live on the coast, or I just don't want to have my teaching job anymore. Whatever it is, to be able to say it out loud. And that's the first step to start visualizing what your future self can be. And I went through this whole experiment myself. And one of the most personal things that I put in the book was I wrote a letter to my future self. And this was a few years ago. And this vision was so clear in my mind. And I will tell you, the woman that really kind of was the inspiration for that, I mean, I'm gonna sound cliche, was Serena Williams. And I just had this almost unhealthy obsession with her attitude and the way she walked onto the court, and this I don't know, just that everything about her, when she came into a competitive space, she knew she was the best to ever do it. And I would just soak all that up. And I was just like, that is the future me. Not Serena. I wasn't, not going to be Serena. Serena is Serena. But
Mhm.
the mindset of being the best or being the most evolved version of myself, I had that
Absolutely.
mind of, yeah, I want to be that person that feels like the greatest to ever do it every time I walk into a space. And so that vision of my future self, I actually wrote a letter in that mindset. And that future version of me was looking back at present day me, saying, hey, you know what? You need to get over yourself. You need to do this. You need to stop doing this. You know that da 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 da. And I just made a list of all the things that my future self would have finally let go of. And I think about my clients the same way, and I want them to be able to crystal clear visualize this future evolved version of themselves that had finally let go and open themselves up to possibilities. Just to have that feeling of, okay, I see her. She might be 5 days into the future. She might be 5 years into the future, but I am now going to catch the through line to get me to her. I want to make her a reality. And that was the inspiration for all of it.
I love that. I love that. I mean, I think that that's such a worthwhile exercise. That's something that people should try to kind of consider your future self. Consider your future
Yeah.
self. And would you want your future self to be proud of you and the
Yeah,
decision that you made, the decisions that you've made? So
for
anything,
sure.
tell me what's on the horizon for you? What's next for you?
And here I go talking about my future self again. Future version of me is working on that third book.
Okay.
And it's something I'm gonna do in 2026. Can't tell you exactly when I'm gonna sit down at the laptop and start getting it all out, but some very rough notes are coming out. And it is going to be just about that midlife relationships I really want to explore that. And
Sure.
I would love for it to be in somewhat of an anthology where I can bring in some perspectives of different folks. So whether it's adult friendships, adult professional relationships, adult marriages and romantic relationships, how we start over after divorce or, losing a partner. I want to explore all of that of what it looks like in our 50s and 60s. And so I'm saying that out loud. Good Lord, I hadn't said it out loud in public, but Tiffany, man, you made me say it, so I got to do it
Yeah.
now. So
Absolutely,
that's a goal.
absolutely, and the good thing is that if you have a dream or a goal or something like that, I am the absolute worst person to tell that to because, of course, I'm gonna I launch leaders to their destiny. I'm gonna make sure that book is gonna materialize. It has to. It has to.
Yeah,
It has to, yeah,
I
yeah,
hear
absolutely.
it's gonna happen. I'm gonna get an email from you, in January saying, "Hey, I'm checking
Yeah,
on the book
yeah, just
progress."
checking in, just see what kind of progress, what's the outline looking at? Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
glad you know. I'm glad you know, so it won't be so much of a surprise.
In the immediate future, it's really gonna be focusing on the redesign lab, and as folks are listening to this right now, like I said, we're recording this in November, and the first cohort is gonna start in January, so what I have been hosting are some preview sessions so that women can come and get one session for free where they can kinda try out what activities we're gonna be doing in the redesign lab. And
Nice.
for anyone that is curious, they're able to go to my website, melanatedmidlife.com/redesign, and they can get a full outline of exactly what we're going to be focusing on in each cohort. And I say cohort intentionally because I am a firm believer that we don't do this in isolation. Again, just dispelling that whole strong black woman myth that you got to do it all by yourself and you got to stand on your own. Yeah, okay, we've done that. Done it, bought the t-shirt, everything. This is
Absolutely.
intentionally about doing it in community and
Good.
saying the embarrassing things out loud to other women that are not only going to not laugh at you, but they're going to get it. And they're going to say,
Yes,
yeah, girl, you can do
yes.
that,
And they're gonna be on the same
and
journey with
hold you
you
accountable.
at the same time.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it.
So,
Well, my question was essentially where can people find out about it, which is what you just explained. I do let's see, there was something that I wanted to ask you about. I did wanna know, so are we going to be seeing more clips or more footage from the book? Okay. Yes, 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 and yes. Okay, good.
yeah.
So I wanted to find
Yeah.
out
You're
about
going to,
that. Okay,
not
good.
only are you
Because
going to
I
get
was
more
like,
clips, but
a virtual is not the same. I wish I could be there, and I'm sure the virtual is gonna be fun. I'll probably sign up for that as well. But I
yeah,
just wanna make
but
sure that we're
I
gonna
want to
be
have
able.
more. So remember we were talking about, when we would be in the same city and we're going to figure that out. But the first live event that we did just a couple of weeks ago, the the reception was fantastic. I loved the way that people showed up and the energy that they brought, but it was evident that we were not done. It scared the hell out of me to do that live event. It scared the hell out of me with the number of people that showed up. Scared the hell out of me to stand up and say all the embarrassing things out loud on stage. But at the same time, I was like, okay, this is something we got to do again. I don't think we're finished. I don't think this is the last time. And so I definitely in 2026 want to host more live events so that we can come together in the flesh, in the same room, and have those conversations that leave you inspired, leave you completely full and ready to go out and do just one thing differently. Not necessarily a big thing, not necessarily, just like some people say, "Oh, I just took a leap of faith and just did all of this at once." I'm like, "Girl, no, we ain't doing everything at once. We're gonna do something little and try to, dip our toes in and see what it feels like and go from there." But yeah, that's another big thing for 2026. I want to have a couple of more live events and actually be able to be in the room to feel that energy from other midlifers that are curious about making these changes.
I love that. That's gonna be great. That's gonna be great. I'm going to be at one of these live events. Like, I'm going to
Yes,
be
you
there.
are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Whether I'm invited or not, I mean, listen, if I see security outside, somebody's getting kicked in the shin and I'm running in, so I'm just it just sounded
Do the
like
hair flip, girl, and I'll be like, "That's Tiffany."
audience, as always. I feel like you always add value to your audience, so I love that.
I appreciate that. It was
Yeah,
fun. They gave me as much as I gave to them, and again, it just was more evidence that people are ready for these conversations,
yeah,
and I hold very firm, we are the hip hop generation, and we ushered in so much culture, so much beauty in the art space, in the music space, the fashion space, all of that. We don't just stop because we're turning 50, turning 60 or whatever. We're still out here leading all of those areas. There's a lot more life experience that comes with it, so I feel like the stories are even richer. The people that we bring into these conversations have so much more to say. If you're looking in the mirror and you're criticizing all the things that are different at 50, okay, fine. We don't look like we used to, but all of the experience, every wrinkle, every gray hair, every hair that is lost, know, that we earned all of it. So
yes,
let's
we
keep
did.
let's keep sharing. I feel like this is a time when our contribution is really appreciated. If I hear one more 20 something person telling me,
Promise.
"Do I know who TLC is?" I'd be like, "Girl, not only do I know TLC's
Yeah,
music, I was there when
abs
all of that."
absolutely. That was our time. That was our time,
Mhm.
absolutely. Well, I cannot thank you enough for allowing us an opportunity just to dig in a little, drill down a little bit more into this fine piece of work that you've written here and just learning more about melanated midlife in general. Thank you so much. You're always such a pleasure to talk to. And I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful that we met and that we're friends. I'm really excited.
And we are going to be in the same space physically at some point. So we're saying it out loud. Folks need to hold us accountable. So maybe they need to comment whenever they're watching this video. They need to say, "Hey, did y'all end up having a meetup?" And be like, "Oh, we're working on."
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Hold us accountable. And actually and even go a step further. And why don't you reach out to if there's someone that you want to connect with that you haven't, take this as your this is the sign. This is
Yes.
the sign. This is the sign to reach out to a friend, maybe who you've been disconnected from, reach out to someone who you would
Yep.
like to be friends with. The person that you see every morning at the coffee shop, this is your sign to do that. Akilah, thank you
Absolutely.
so much. Thank you. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
The Rebuild
I
family,
appreciate it,
thank you
Tiffany.
so much for joining us today. I'm glad that we had an opportunity to be together. Be sure to go to Melanated Midlife on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Anywhere else? Is there anywhere else?
Yeah, everywhere, melanatedmidlife.com, and leave a message. I mean, I always remind people that it's a real person behind that. So leave a message. Let me know what's
Leave
on
a
your mind.
message. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.